Hello everyone and welcome to my bold and beautiful update channel. I hope today fantastic for everyone. Please hit the subscribes button and give this video thumbs up. Nick Marone's return date, Jack Wagner returns to action. The bold and the beautiful spoilers reveal that a fan favorite is returning to Los Angeles, and fans have been counting down the days before Jack Wagner's famous return as Nick Marone. Nick has appeared on the CBS serial on occasion over the years, but according to B&B spoilers, he will be present for an extended length of time and will be involved in a delicious storyline. Continue reading for all the exciting comings and goings news, with bold and beautiful spoilers ahead. Last month, it was revealed that Jack Wagner had resumed filming scenes as Brooke Logan's ex, Nick Marone, who has not been on the CBS serial since 2022. Brooke Logan isn't Nick Marone's only ex on The Bold and the Beautiful, he also had a love relationship with her competitor Taylor Hayes. Is there a Brooke Logan and Nick Marone reunion on The Bold and the Beautiful? Brooke, who currently stars on The Bold and the Beautiful, is single and ready to mingle. Ridge Forrester dumped the Brooke's bedroom model following the Forrester Creations takeover and reconciled with his other love, Taylor Hayes. According to B&B spoilers, Nick Marone's return will lead to romantic mayhem in Los Angeles. But it's unclear whether he'll wind up with Taylor or Brooke when the dust settles. Sure, Nick could rekindle his past affair with Brooke Logan. However, he could try to pursue Taylor Hayes. Taylor is pleased to be reunited with Ridge Forrester, but anything is possible on the CBS serial. Will Nick Marone also capture her eye? Jack Wagner's bed and breakfast return date. The return date for Jack Wagner's Bold and the Beautiful is set for Friday, June 13th. In a recent interview on his return, the actor enthusiastically stated, "The journey to the studio, as well as going in, was a trip down memory lane. It was amazing to see all the images on the wall and then catch up with the crew." Are you looking forward to Nick Marone's return on B&B? Do you believe he'll reunite with Brooke Logan, or will he cause problems for Taylor and Ridge? Nick Marone is back for Brooke. Is she done with Ridge forever? Nick Marone returns for Brooke Logan on Bold and the Beautiful, and when he does, she may finally put Ridge Forrester behind her. We'll discuss how Nick's return to B&B may make Brooke realize that her destiny is too dusty and that it's time to give up on Ridge. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, Brooke holds on. Brooke is still hoping that she hasn't lost Ridge to Taylor Hayes permanently. Carter Walton is adding to Brooke's hope by assuring her that she can get Ridge back, just as he is confident in getting Hope Logan back. But I don't believe any of those things is a given at this time. Brooke still believes Ridge is the only man for her and that they will always find their way back together. And that is exactly what she is telling Taylor, and Brooke is trying to tell herself, but Taylor isn't having it. Brooke was recently seen trying to hurl herself at Ridge in the middle of the workday while parading about in her bra and underwear. Taylor scolded Brooke for her need and desire. But, she appeared slightly uncomfortable. She yelled. Brooke, on the other hand, appeared sad that her plan had failed and Ridge had not discovered it. Nick Marone returns for Brooke on Bold and the Beautiful. Is she done with Ridge forever? Nick Marone's exciting return. Will Jack Wagner's B&B comeback change everything for Brooke Logan? And, of course, we learned that Nick Marone is returning to Los Angeles. And his reappearance could change everything for Brooke. She always talks about Ridge being her destiny, but he is far from the only man who has ever been in her heart, bedroom, or placed a wedding band on her finger. So, if you are a newer viewer, like some of the folks in the comments who have asked me about it, you may not be aware that Brooke was once in love with and married Ridge's half-brother, Nick, back in the day. Bold and the Beautiful, Brooke on the merry-go-round. Brooke found herself returning to Ridge, but she was also drawn back to Nick multiple times. And if you don't recognize the name Nick, here's a brief reminder. Stephanie Forrester, Susan Flannery, Ridge's mother, had a romantic relationship with Massimo Marone in the past. He was played by the great and talented Joseph Mascalo, who was also well known for his role as Stefano Di Mera on Days of Our Lives. Nick's father, Massimo, is also Ridge's biological father. But Stephanie had misled Eric Forrester about her interactions with Massimo. And he always felt he was Ridge's biological father. B&B spoilers, family secrets revealed. And, of course, Eric reared Ridge as his own. And none of them realized Massimo was, well, Stephanie did. I believe she already knew. But it turned out that Massimo was Ridge's father when he was an adult. Ridge had an accident and required a blood transfusion. So it was the big Ridge and Eric announcement of the fact. When Brooke was pregnant with R.J. Forrester, Joshua Hoffman, she was unsure whether Nick or Ridge was his father. Because she was so intimate with both of them. So, I'm not going to give you the entire narrative. Because there is so much back and forth, but there is also a lot of drama and competition between Nick and Ridge over Brooke and their biological father, Massimo. There's also the tangled history with Stephanie and Eric. Bold and the beautiful spoilers, Nick's return will shake up Brooke, Ridge, and Taylor's love triangle. So Brooke is suddenly single. And Nick is returning to Los Angeles. He will undoubtedly distract her from mourning Ridge and fighting Taylor about their shared waffler of an ex-husband. And, in case you missed it, Nick made a one-time appearance in 2022 as part of a dream sequence with Brooke. I believe he was wearing a Navy uniform at the time. It's been 1 minute. It's been 3 years. If you haven't seen Nick before, you're in for a treat. He is played by the exceedingly sexy and gorgeous Jack Wagner, who previously played Frisco Jones on General Hospital and featured in When Calls the Heart. He just gets better with age, like excellent wine. And I'm quite eager to see Jack Wagner return to Bold and the Beautiful. Brooke's second big love, Nick, will return to B&B on June 13th. And Jack Wagner actually started filming last week. And by the time Brooke sees Nick return to her life, she will have been separated from Ridge for 6 months, which implies he has been with Taylor the entire time, happy as a clam. Love, jealousy, and family drama, what to expect from Nick's extended arc on B&B. Jack Wagner is supposedly staying on Bold and the Beautiful for a relatively long time. Nick surprises Brooke with his unexpected arrival in Los Angeles, just when she is feeling particularly down after losing Ridge and him denying her repeated requests to return to her. All of this is expected to reignite Brooke's unresolved love for Ridge's brother, Nick. According to spoilers about the return narrative, Nick's homecoming brings Brooke solace. And he provides the steadiness she urgently needs at this moment in her life. Their passion reignites. And Brooke may have a chance at happiness with this flashback to her romantic past because Nick still loves her. But witnessing Brooke reconcile with Nick may change Ridge's feelings. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, is Ridge jealous? Nick and Taylor may be startled if Ridge feels jealous. He is convinced that his relationship with Brooke is over because she betrayed him. And he claims Taylor is his future. But that may change if Ridge notices Brooke going on with someone else, especially if that someone else is his brother Nick. You can bet that if Ridge becomes envious, Taylor will be annoyed as well. Longtime Bold and the Beautiful fans may recall Nick's relationship with Taylor. Nick and Taylor were married once previously. Nick was also married 3 times to Brooke's daughter Bridget Forrester, in the classic B&B scary family overlap romance style. And suppose Ridge does go back to Brooke and walk away from Taylor because he is envious of Nick. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, will Nick come to the rescue? Yeah, I'd like to see Brooke tell Ridge to leave and stick with the other brother after all these years of waffling. But if it does play out this way on Bold and the Beautiful, I just hope Brooke and Taylor don't start fighting over Nick rather than Ridge. But at the very least, it would be a new love triangle, as opposed to the stale one we've seen with Ridge, Brooke, and Taylor. There are several interesting possibilities for this, but it would be good to see anything other than Ridge between Brooke and Taylor. No matter how things turn out, I believe it will be terrific to have Nick back. I'm also looking forward to seeing some fresh Brooke material, as well as a different perspective on Taylor and Ridge now that Nick has returned. And there's still some time before Nick returns to Bold and the Beautiful. So, we'll see more of Ridge and Taylor's happiness, which will continue to shatter Brooke's heart until she reaches this very low point. Nick rides to the rescue. I cannot wait. Brooke and Nick's hot new romance, what's next for exes? On Bold and the Beautiful, Nick Marone is on his way back to Los Angeles for Brooke Logan, and a new plot begins next month. We'll discuss Nick and Brooke's new chance at romance and what happens this time around. Nick Marone returns to B&B. Can he help Brooke move on from Ridge? Okay, so Nick will be returning in a few weeks. Jack Wagner makes his debut in the middle of June. And it appears like Nick might be the person who helps Brooke move on from Ridge Forrester, which would be fantastic. Brooke has tried many times over the last few months to persuade Ridge to leave Taylor Hayes and return to her. But every time, Ridge dismisses Brooke and reiterates his commitment to Taylor. He is maintaining his word to her. So Brooke may soon have no choice but to give up and let Ridge go. But, of course, her heart will break. And kind of unfairly. I believe Eric Forrester got Brooke excited and told her that their stunt at the Forrester Creations fashion show would pull Ridge back to her side and result in him dumping Taylor. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, Taylor and Brooke argue about Ridge. But, as much as Ridge appeared to be moved by Brooke's Portofino gown, he refused to change his mind about Taylor. It almost felt like Ridge was looking at Brooke nostalgically, as if she were a significant part of Ridge's history but not his future. This week's spoilers include Taylor and Brooke arguing again about Ridge and what happened during the fashion show. And I'm expecting things will get heated between them again. Taylor believes Brooke was making another desperate move, similar to when she saw her in the bras and panties and said, "Oh, Ridge, I thought it was you," before screaming because, it wasn't. And, she believes Taylor shouldn't have attended the fashion show at all that day. Brooke may have even convinced herself that the plan she devised with Eric could have worked if Taylor had stayed away that day. Who knows? Maybe. Brooke's heartbreak, Nick Marone arrives to heal her pain. So, with Ridge continuing with Taylor for the time being, Brooke is distraught, and she is feeling down and at a low moment when Nick arrives, according to Jack Wagner's arrival spoilers. So, her ex could be just the guy to help Brooke get over Ridge, or at least mend her heart, so she can go forward and move on from what occurred with Ridge. A look back, Brooke and Nick's tumultuous bed and breakfast history. If you were paying attention back then, you could have noticed Brooke switching between Nick and Ridge on several occasions. Of course, Nick was also engaged with several other Logan females, namely Brooke's sisters. And, despite the fact that Ridge and some of her sisters were involved, Brooke and Nick had something unique, and they made their way back to each other several times before Nick slipped off the character canvas and Jack Wagner left Bold and the Beautiful for good. A new chapter for Brooke and Nick? Why is this time different? So, with this major return, it appears Nick and Brooke will get another chance at their love tale. With Ridge out of the picture, Nick and Brooke's relationship could take unexpected turns. It may involve magic and fireworks, which would be fantastic. And, without a doubt, Nick and Brooke's situation has changed dramatically this time around. As a result, many of the issues that once strained their relationship are no longer an issue. Longtime viewers may recall that, despite Brooke and Nick's intense feelings for each other, there was a lot of love there. There were also large impediments that kept getting in the way. Bold and the Beautiful, Nick let Brooke go. And the first time she and Nick broke up was because Brooke was pregnant. She was unsure whether the baby was Nick's or Ridge's child. And a paternity test revealed that the baby was Nick's, but his mother, Jackie, faked the test to make it appear that it was her grandchild when it was actually Ridge's. When the truth came out, Nick let Brooke leave. Also, Nick had a relationship with Brooke's daughter, Bridget Forrester, Ashley Jones, at least twice. Nick and Bridget attempted to marry twice, but each time ended in disaster, and they ultimately said "I do" on the third attempt. But Nick still couldn't get past her mother, Brooke. Awkward, right? It became so severe that Nick hallucinated Brooke. Instead of getting with Nick, Brooke ended up remarrying Ridge. Meanwhile, Nick resumed his relationship with Bridget. Nick and Brooke eventually got back together. They even got married. But then Donna Logan, Jennifer Garice, Stephanie Forrester shoved his mother, Jackie, over the balcony. Ridge stays with Taylor on Bold and the Beautiful? So he flipped out and forced Eric to sign over Forrester Creations to him. He appointed Jackie president of FC. Donna was like the head model, and as a result, Brooke decided to divorce Nick. So, certainly, Brooke and Nick had their troubles, but what happened back then is unlikely to happen anymore. Stephanie's gone. Jackie is not in the photo. Everyone's much older. They are more mature. Brooke is not with Ridge. She isn't going to show up pregnant at this stage. Plus, Ridge appears to be sticking with Taylor. So he is not in the way. Bridget is rarely seen. So, for a variety of reasons, many of these barriers are not in place or are impractical. What to expect from Nick's return, flashbacks and recovery for Brooke. So it would be amazing if Nick could rekindle his relationship with Brooke. We'll see about that. I'm also expecting we'll get a walk down memory lane with plenty of flashbacks. So, if you weren't watching when Jack Wagner was on BNB, I'm guessing you'll get to see a lot of that old video shortly. Plus, Nick will provide Brooke with much-needed romance and reinforcement that she is gorgeous, seductive, unforgettable, and has always been in his heart, which may be incredibly soothing for her after Ridge's repeated rejections over the last few months. Nick's return is only temporary. Will Brooke and Nick never have a happy ever after? Unfortunately, unless something extraordinary happens, Jack Wagner will not be returning to portray Nick on a long-term basis. He has to go film the latest season of When Calls the Heart, so he can't stay here forever. So, I suppose Nick will have to leave once he has helped Brooke mend her shattered heart. Nick does arrive at a low period in Brooke's life, but it doesn't appear that this will be a happily ever after. But Nick might make Brooke happier than she's been in a long time, leaving her healed, entire, and ready to move forward. Brooke's future beyond Ridge. Could Dollar Bill be her next love? Ridge may return to Brooke when Nick leaves since he has always been jealous of his brother Nick. However, after Nick departs, Bold and the Beautiful may deviate from fate and couple Brooke with Bill Spencer once more. Many fans would want that. I would prefer it. Brooke's time with Nick may even convince her that she can be happy without Ridge, and that she may be happier without him than with him. Brooke might be more receptive to a relationship with Bill or someone else entirely. Even if Ridge does ask Brooke, she may decline following her reconciliation with Nick. Well, I think it would be amazing to see Brooke as a completely different woman, free of Ridge and their terrible past. Personally, I think it would be a welcome change of pace, but we'll see how things go. Brooke is broken when Nick arrives in Los Angeles. According to Bold and the Beautiful teasers, Ridge Forrester is determined to prove to everyone, particularly Brooke Logan, that he is loyal to Taylor Hayes. And he may take dramatic measures to convey his message to both her and Eric Forrester. Here's why Ridge would propose to Taylor. He wants to push back against Eric's control over his love life. And Brooke's requests that he return to her push him. Ridge proposes to Taylor on Bold and the Beautiful. Does this mean he's over Brooke? #Bold and Beautiful. Eric and Brooke's show-stopping plan backfires on Bold and the Beautiful. So Eric and Brooke simply executed that little stunt to refresh the spectacular garment from Portofino. They wanted to remind Ridge about the thrill of the moment. They believe he will realize he should embrace his destiny and return to Brooke. Eric attempted to portray the showstopper scheme as a time in which Brooke saved the entire fashion show. But the show was going well. Eric believed it drew the focus away from why they needed to reclaim the company. But, come on, everyone was raving about Ivy Forrester's jewels, Daphne Rose's fragrances, and the reintroduction of the couture line. Except for Ridge's brief mention of the Carter-Walton coup, no one was discussing it. He said Carter had improved the firm and complimented him. Ridge defends Taylor against Eric's meddling with B&B. Since the Forrester Creations fashion presentation, Eric has told Ridge that he belongs with Brooke. He states it as fact, not opinion. Of course, Ridge understands his father's good intentions. But he'd had enough. And he snapped at Eric, telling him to stop meddling. Ridge continues to maintain he is committed to Taylor. However, neither Eric nor Brooke are listening to Ridge or respecting his freedom to make his own decisions. Eric recently stated that Ridge has too much history with Brooke to simply walk away from her. But then Ridge reminded Eric that he has a long relationship with Taylor as well. Furthermore, he claimed Taylor never betrayed them. They are in love with each other. They've got something special. And Ridge eventually yelled at his father. He reminded Eric that he agreed Brooke had betrayed all of us as well. Eric, of course, was attempting to backtrack on that. He argued that Ridge had made a mistake. He ignored every point presented by his kid. Then he practically disregarded his and Taylor's relationship altogether. He answered, "You aren't even engaged to her. Go back to Brooke."